Welcome to i4 Institute. I am Khushbu, working as .NET software developer in i4 Technolab Private Limited. This series is about .NET framework. We would start with basic programming and related topics. In last session, I discussed about ASP.NET. In this session, I am going to talk about AJAX. Now, in this session, I am going to cover up the following points. Introduction to AJAX, why use AJAX, JQuery AJAX, loading simple data, getting JSON data, JQuery AJAX method, and JQuery AJAX event. Now the first question in your mind arises is what is AJAX and why we use AJAX in our application. So let's have a look. So AJAX is an asynchronous JavaScript and XML technique for creating fast and dynamic web pages. It allows web pages to be updated asynchronously by exchanging small amount of data with server behind the scenes. This means that it is possible to update parts of web page without reloading the whole page. Classic web pages which do not use AJAX must reload the entire page if the content should change. Example of application using AJAX are Google Maps, Gmail, YouTube, and Facebook. So in short, what is AJAX? In short, AJAX is a new technique for creating better, faster, and more interactive web applications with the help of XML, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So AJAX uses HTML for content and CSS for presentation, along with document object model and JavaScript for dynamic content display. So now, why you use AJAX in your application? What are the advantages of using AJAX application? So there are first major advantage of it is that AJAX is possible to update some part of web page without reloading the whole page. This is the main advantage of AJAX. Please remember, some part of web page to update some part of web page without reloading the whole page. Second one is for creating fast and dynamic web pages. It is faster to use for creating fastest and dynamic web pages. Now next is by using AJAX you can request text, HTML, XML or JSON from a remote server using both HTTP GET and HTTP POST, and you can load the external data directly into the selected HTML element of your web page. Here are another reasons why we can use AJAX, that is client server apps, dynamic data, static forms, controls, code, etc. Efficient but not flexible. In traditional web apps, dynamic data, dynamic forms, controls, code, etc. Flexible but inefficient and noticeably slow. AJAX app. It is a dynamic data, static or dynamic forms, control, code, etc. Best of both worlds. Here you can see if it is a client or server apps, then what are the difference between a client and server apps, traditional web apps, and AJAX apps. Next, multi-threaded data retrieval from web server, pre-fetch data before needed, progress indicators, appearance of speed, avoids need for set timeout, less bandwidth required, less server load, reload partial page, not entire page. This is an important point for AJAX. Load data only, not even partial page. So what is AJAX? So you can see AJAX is also used for pass some of the data to controller and gets the output for same request. Now JQuery AJAX. JQuery is a great JavaScript tool which provides a rich set of AJAX methods to develop next generation web application. All JQuery AJAX method use AJAX method. This method is mostly used for request where the other method cannot be used. So how to initialize AJAX? Here is a simple syntax of AJAX. $dot AJAX round bracket. Inside round bracket you have to open braces, then name, value. Name and value are separated by colon, and two properties are separated by comma. The parameter specifies one or more name value pairs for the AJAX request. Some of the possible names and values are in the table below. Async, a boolean value indicating whether the request should be handled asynchronous or not. Default, it is a true. Second one is before send, a function to run before the request is sent. Next is cache, a boolean value indicating whether the browser should cache the requested pages or not. By default, cache is true. Content type, the content type used when sending data to the server. Context specifies this value for all the AJAX related callback functions. Data specifies data to be sent to the server. Data type, the data type expected of the server response. Complete, that is status, a function to run when the request is finished, that is after success and error functions. Error, status, error, a function to run if the request fails. Success, result, status, a function to be run when the request succeeds. URL specifies the URL to send the request to. Default is the current page. Type specifies the type of request, that is GET or POST. Now let me tell you how AJAX works. There is some steps, you can say there are some steps for AJAX work. So let me tell you. Number 1, when user sends a request from the UI, then a JavaScript call goes to XML HTTP request object. Second, HTTP request is sent to the server by XML HTTP request object. Third, server interacts with the database using JSP, PHP, Servlet or ASP.NET. Then fourth one is data is retrieved. Fifth, server sends XML data or JSON data to XML HTTP request callback function. Then last, HTML and CSS data is displayed on the browser. So these 6 are the steps. You can say you have to follow these 6 steps for AJAX call. Here you can see I have a cs.aspx page. Here inside a HTML body, you can see here I have a start of a form id equal to 1 run at server. Inside that I have a div stating your name as a label having a text box. txt username run at server ASP text box. This is ASP.NET text box control. After that there is a button having id, bt and get time. Value, that is show current time. On click I am just firing show current time function. So what is there in show current time? Let me show you in my head section. Here you can see inside a head section there is a function show current time. Inside that I just initialize the AJAX $.AJAX round bracket start round bracket complete, and inside that braces start braces complete. Now the type is post because I want to post the data whatever I write in my text box. Now URL. Here you can say I just written cs.aspx/get current time. So in the code behind of this page, here I have written a method get current time. Please remember AJAX will call always a web method. So above that I have to initialize it as a web method. Then and only then AJAX access this method. Here you can see I have just passed a parameter string name. So from where it will be get? From AJAX call inside a data I will get this parameter. Here you can see data colon. I just started a comma, inverted comma, start here and end here. Inside that a curly bracket and type of a parameter name. Here you can see parameter name is name, so it must be a same here. So I have written name. What I want to pass is whatever I write in my text box. So here I gave a ID text box ID dot client ID and its value. So whatever I will type in my text box, it will be sent to a data of AJAX in this get current time method. Content type, what type of content it should be? Then it should be an application JSON type and char set UTF-8. I want it should be a UTF-8. Data type should be a JSON. If it is a success, then what should happen? I have just on success of AJAX call, I just created another function on success. Inside on success, I just pass the response which I will get from AJAX. In this response, what will be happen? I want just alert response.d. So what will be the response? Here you can see in this method get current time, you can see I am returning a string message that is hello, name, whatever text box have value. In new line, the current time is datetime.now to string. So this string type, this string message will be sent to a AJAX response here. AJAX response here. So when I will access this response.d, then I will get this message. Suppose during a AJAX call some failure will occur. Then what happen? In failure function, the response.d will be fired as an alert. It means it will show us what response it is getting, what error it is getting in AJAX call. Now let me run this application for you. I'm running this application. Here you can see I'm writing my name. I'm just clicking show current time. You can here see in that hello Khushbu Shah, the current time is 1/5/2017 3:35:55 p.m. This is the local time of my server. So this is an example of simple AJAX call. Loading simple data. Here is the simple syntax for load method. Selector.load URL, data and callback. What is URL? So URL of the server side resource to which the request is sent. In our example, I have created a method get current time. So here the URL of that method. Data represents an object whose properties are serialized into a properly encoded parameters to be passed to the request. If specified, the request is made using the post method. If omitted, the get method is used. By default, it is a get method. Data means whatever parameters or whatever values you want to send to that method which is specified in URL. Callback. This function invoked after the response data has been loaded into the elements of the matched set. The first parameter passed to this function is the response text received from the server, and second parameter is a status code. Now, before starting with JSON, you have to know what is JSON. So let me answer this. What is JSON? JSON is a full form of a JavaScript object notation. JSON is a minimal readable format for structuring data. It is used primarily to transmit data between a server and web application as an alternative to XML. Squarespace uses JSON to store and organize site content created with the CMS. The two primary parts that make us JSON are keys and values. Together they make a key-value pair. What is key in JSON? So key is always a string enclosed in a quotation mark. And what is a value in a JSON? So value can be a string, number, boolean expression, array, or any of the object. So together we can say it is a key value pair. A key value pair follows a specific syntax with the key followed by colon and then followed by value. So key value pairs are further separated by comma. This is a basic structure of a JSON. Let me show you an syntax of JSON. Suppose I want a variable A. Then inside that I will give employee ID 1. Now I want employee name. Its value is Khushbu. Now I want employee address. So it will be India. So here you can see variable A is variable A having a key value pair. The key is employee ID, employee name, and employee address, and the values are 1, Khushbu, and India. So this is a basic structure of an JSON. Let me start with getting JSON data. Here is a simple syntax for getJSON method. Selector.getJSON URL data callback. What is URL? The URL of the server-side resource contacted via the get method. Data, an object whose properties serve as the name value pairs used to construct a query string to be appended to the URL, or a pre-formatted and encoded query string. Callback, a function invoked when the request completes. The data value resulting from digesting the response body as a JSON string is passed as the first parameter to this callback and status as the second. JQuery AJAX method. Following are all important JQuery AJAX method for programming. JQuery.AJAX options. Load a remote page using an HTTP request. JQuery.AJAX setup. Set up a global setting for AJAX request. JQuery.get. Inside that, parameters are URL, data, callback, and type. Load a remote page using an HTTP GET request. jQuery.post. URL, data, callback, type are parameters. Load a remote page using HTTP POST request. jQuery.getJSON, that is URL, data, and callback are parameter. Load JSON data using an HTTP GET request. jQuery.getScript. URL, callback are its parameter. Loads and executes a JavaScript file using an HTTP GET request. JQuery AJAX method are further simplified. Load, that is URL, data, callback. Load HTML from a remote file and inject it into the DOM. Serialize. Serializes a set of input elements into a string of data. Serialize array. Serializes all forms and form elements like the .serialize method but returns a JSON data structure. JQuery AJAX Events. You can call various jQuery methods during the lifecycle of AJAX call progress. Based on different event stages, following methods are available. AJAX complete, callback, attach a function to be executed whenever an AJAX request completes. AJAX start, attach a function to be executed whenever an AJAX request begins and there is none already active. AJAX error callback, attach a function to be executed whenever an AJAX request fails. AJAX send, attach a function to be executed before an AJAX request is sent. AJAX stop, callback, attach a function to be executed whenever all AJAX requests have ended. AJAX success, attach a function to be executed when. For references, you can go through tutorialpoints.com and jQuery.com. Let's end the session. Hopefully you enjoyed the session. Thank you for watching.